October Red Boxing. Back with Eddie Hearn. How are you? See, I was packing away because you were in demand.
I said, well, I'm going to go and do the face-off, and when I come back, you'll be the first one I've done. And you are the first one I've done since coming back. So I weren't going to let you down.
Congratulations. I really like the setup here. Very, very celebrity-like. The homecoming, the welcoming back for Anthony Joshua. Talk to us about that.
Well, we knew you were coming, you see, so we wanted to lay out the red carpet for October Red. It's AJ, you know. I know people like to sort of try and diminish his draw and talk about, oh, you know, no one's interested, but, you know, it's massive whenever he fights, and it's a big fight for his career. There's a lot on the line on Saturday night, you know, and Franklin looks nice and chilled, so does AJ, but it's going to be interesting to see how he performs and all the work that he's put in with Derek James.
The team that you decided to choose, Jermaine rather than Dillian, what was the thought process around that?
I feel like the Dillian fight is a stadium fight. I think it'd be a little bit more difficult to negotiate. I felt like Jermaine put up a good performance against Dillian Whyte. It was a close fight. And I just felt that he was a deal that we could get done quite quickly. And then it could lead into the Dillian Whyte fight in the summer. So he got the nod, and he's up for it.
The pressure that's on you as a promoter to deliver, to create those world champions. Matchroom it's the first boxing show that I started watching. I remember you signing AJ as he came out of the Olympics. Building that empire, it's a personal question on a business level. You have to be ruthless, but how have you managed to maintain it? And you are weathering some storms.
You just have to make the right business decisions. You know, you can't let emotion get in the way. Sometimes you have to let a fighter go who doesn't have the commercial value that the numbers being offered represent, you know. And if a fighter is a big draw and does numbers, we ain't letting them go, and they don't go anywhere. But unfortunately, you're in a market now where fighters will get great offers that we're not prepared to compete with or match. And you have to ride the storms of the internet or Twitter going, ooh, he's lost so-and-so. It's like, yeah, we have. And, you know, we lost him because he had a great deal. He doesn't drive that money at the gate. He doesn't drive subscribers. And therefore, if we pay him that amount of money, we will lose a substantial amount of money on that given night. And we're not in that business. Like, you know, and people say, yeah, you got loads of money. It's like, yeah, but that's because we make the right decisions, you know? So I don't believe you'll see a fighter of value leave Matchroom, because and when fighters say, I don't feel like I'm a priority anymore, what that means is you ain't doing numbers, right? And it's not like you don't get cast to the side, but if you're doing numbers, if you're in big fights, you become a very valuable commodity to that company. And therefore, you get more attention, you get more media. You know, it's just like a natural progression. And when you're not engaging with the public, and when you're not driving sales, and when you're not, and a lot of the time you're not really wanting to go outside of your comfort zone to actually do a lot of media, which a lot of these fighters aren't, then yeah, you do become less of a priority. It's just life. It's not personal, and it's not that we don't like you as much. It's just that naturally you don't get as much time spent on you as the ones that are delivering that.
That fine line, and this is where I always come back to the crossover boxing. Those guys, whatever you think of crossover boxing, they know how to sell themselves. They know how to market themselves. I didn't even know who some of them were, but I looked at their numbers. Like you said, we're in the numbers game because numbers means eyes mean money. That kind of model, is that something that you'd look to bring into boxing? I'm not talking about crossover, but maybe pushing the fighters out to say, not slap your brother and, you know, do all crazy stuff, but...
Honestly, I've had so many fighters come into the office,
right,
and like a fighter might say, I don't feel like I'm getting enough exposure. And I say, okay, come in, meet the team, let's work together with a marketing, social, digital team, and they don't actually want to do anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come to this show. You've got fighters, they go to every show. They're the ones putting themselves out. They're on social media. They're like, you know, and that's their job at the end of the day. If you're a fighter and you live in this country and we've got a show, you should be there. It doesn't matter, unless, you know, it's miles and miles away, but if it's anywhere, like, make the effort. Do the media, turn up. Like, that's your job, and that's how you're going to drive an audience. So some fighters get it, but some fighters aren't about that life. You know, like, I don't know, Galal Yafai's a good example. He doesn't really want to be famous. Do you know what I mean? He's like, and I'm like, Galal, you won Olympic gold, you're going to be a world champion. Yeah, do this. And it's like, and we joke about it all the time, you know, but some people, like, you have to understand that if you're not prepared to do that kind of stuff, it will affect your commercial value. Now, you might not care, and you might be the type of person to go, that's all right, I'm fine, but that's how you get to that level. That's how you drive ticket sales. That's how you drive subscribers and pay-per-view numbers and audience numbers. And that's what's going to give you the attention, you know, and you know, it's not rocket science. It's really not.
We talk about driving those numbers then, and obviously, like you said, Lawrence Okoli's gone, Joshua Buatsi's gone. The mention that it was, and I've got to put this to you because I was there at the launch for Joshua Buatsi. I'm a fan of Joshua Buatsi, always have been. The UK #1 light heavyweight, in my opinion. However, one of the comments he said was about obviously being where there's more eyes on him. Then almost like magic, DAZN announces that they're going to be on Sky, and I'm like, what? I'm like, Twitter's going mental, and it's like, where on earth did that come? Obviously, it was something that wasn't done overnight. Yeah, but did you guys push it out just because of that comment?
It was, when Josh was making the comments, I was like, yeah, exactly. But look, it doesn't matter. Even though DAZN are on Sky, the viewership in the UK will be bigger on Sky.
Yep.
Internationally, our viewership's much bigger than boxer shows, right? But Josh is focused on the UK, and people will be in his ear saying this. Don't forget, you know, all these guys, Lawrence Okoli, a great example. Lawrence Okoli has had 20 fights, I think. 19 of those have been on Sky. One has been on DAZN. So, and it's like the whole narrative of Saturday night was, Lawrence is back on Sky. Like, it's only about a year that he boxed on Sky. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, this is just the propaganda and narrative that you're up against now. We do the same, both ways, it's fair. So, but obviously, look, DAZN getting on the Sky platform was massive, because you can run the narrative of it's an app, you know, it's you know, it's hidden behind a paywall, it's this and that. You can't get it on Sky, you know. People want to just watch it on their box. Well, now they can. So, of course, it massively increases the viewership. It helps drive subscribers, and you know, I know the numbers on Sky. I've promoted 12 years on Sky.
Correct.
You know, and now it's a case of putting it on like 4 different channels, try and bulk up the numbers and say, look how many viewers we did. But the reality is, look, Channel 5 does 5 times the viewers of Sky.
Does it?
Yeah, Channel 5, they do 1 million audience, 1.3 million peak, you know? But what is the audience? Do you know what I mean? Right. And that audience, how relevant are they? Do they have disposable income? You know, do they follow you on social? Can they be part of your journey? Or are they just got Channel 5 on because they left it on after the movie? Do you know what I mean? And so, you know, I think audience is always important, but of course, there's a lot of people feeding stuff into people's ears.
Do you feel like it's like kind of like a full circle, Eddie? Because you were obviously partnered with Sky, you wanted to develop, you wanted to go global. DAZN came in, you picked that up, and then it's almost like you've gone full circle and it's pushed back out on. Even though I think Ben made it quite clear to me that it's not Sky Sports.
No, it's not
Sky Sports. It's Sky.
Sky platform.
So do you feel like it's like a full circle, kind of like this is something that you've looked at and thought, okay, let's still improve the model by incorporating that into the business?
It's a move by DAZN. Right. Ultimately, it's improving the reach of the platform. Yep. It's driving additional subscribers. It's giving viewers another opportunity, another way to watch, which is important. It's just a massive win for them, really. And you know, DAZN's business is in good shape in boxing. You know, they've got a lot of subscribers in America. They've got a consistent model there. They're doing good numbers in the UK across our events. Misfits, particularly with AJ on Saturday night, is going to do big numbers for them. And, you know, after that, we're going to have a huge subscriber base. So people will always say, oh, you know, I've heard this and I've heard that. There's so much bollocks spoken in boxing. Like, I'll read Twitter sometimes and I just think, fuck me. Like, oh, I've heard this, I've heard that, Sky doing this, Eddie's doing that, Boxer are doing that. It's like, and it just takes one tweet and everyone's on the bandwagon. Oh, have you heard this? People are asking me questions tonight. Oh, I read on Twitter that, you know, the Conor Benn fight with Eubank is signed. Is it? Fucking hell, I don't know. I'm like calling Frank Smith going, what's up, you know? So, yeah. there's a lot of narratives in boxing.
There is a lot of narratives, but you as a businessman, and I'd say you're quite shrewd. You know the game inside and out, and we did see that when you went on TalkSport. First of all, kudos for doing that because you didn't have to. Lions Den, live, no preparation. Talk to us about that, Eddie.
It's good. Quite daunting because obviously Simon's been going for me for like the last 6 months. Not many people come out on top against Simon, and whatever way you want to look at it, I did. Like some might say narrowly, some might say it was close, another thing people think it was a landslide, but I won the debate. Like he had some very valid points. He's very good at what he does. He's very bright, much brighter than me. I told him, I said, but you don't. I work in boxing every day of my life for the last 13, 14 years. You can't disregard what I say. Like you think your opinion is factual. It's not. Some of what you say is fact, but you listen to what I say, you know? And he was wrong on a lot of levels. He was right on a lot of levels. And it was good fun. Everyone was talking about it and, you know, did great numbers.
37,000. I was out on my morning run, and that was like the highlight of the day.
Watching live on a radio station. Yeah, I know. The numbers on the radio would have been huge. So, no, it's good.
But we need to get you back on there again. But the debate still continues. I think Simon's kind of like gone back on stuff and said, there's an issue. The issue is you having that moral compass to say, we don't think Conor should fight until he's had that meeting that you're trying to arrange, you know, that mediation, as it were, with the British Boxing Board of Control. He shouldn't be fighting at all. Your thoughts on that, Eddie?
Yeah, I disagree because I believe he's been through a process with the WBC who controlled that testing.
Yeah.
He's been reinstated in their rankings. He's clear to fight. He's not clear to fight in the UK. And if we choose to fight outside of the UK, that's fine. But I want him to fight in the UK moving forward. That won't be in June. And I expect that fight to take place outside of the UK. But for now, I want to try and get them together and try and find a way where the board are comfortable for him to fight in this country later in the year. Because I don't think we should look for him to have his career outside of the UK. So a lot of egos need to be dropped on many sides, but I'd like to get them all together.
It's a tough job that you've got ahead of you, but we've got faith that if anybody can do it, you can. You've proved, like I said on TalkSport, that there's business, but then there's boxing business. It's a very niche sport. It's not everybody that can just jump into it and understand. Simon was good with his business points, with his moral compass, with his common sense approach. But then there's the actual business of boxing.
I said, I don't care what you say, you would have done the same thing as me. I wouldn't. I promise you, he would have done the same thing because he would have followed the contract, he would have followed the rules, and he would have let the governing body make their decision. And that's what we did.
So Saturday night then, your prediction on AJ's return?
Everything crossed. I think he's going to stop him between rounds 7 and 9, but I think he's got to make a dent in him earlier. He mustn't let Franklin get confident in this fight because there's a lot. I would think, if you think about it, he must be thinking to himself, Franklin, what's it like getting in there with AJ? Like getting that right hand, those speed, what's it like? And if he gets through 4 or 5 rounds and goes, do you know what, this is all right, and he's slipping and sliding and he's rolling shots and he's countering him, and like it's going to be a long night's work. So must get off to a good start and must nail him early, and I think he stops him if he does.
We cannot wait for it. It's going to be an epic night. You know where you can watch it? You can watch it on DAZN and Sky.
You can. You can watch it on DAZN via the app or Sky Channel 429. First time AJ's not been pay-per-view for 7 years.
Wow. How does that feel?
It's good. It's good. It's nice to not get any stick. You know what I mean? But
yeah, cost of living and all that. Yeah. Eddie, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank
you for taking time to speak to October Red Boxing. Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.